Welcome to the Gen X Journey podcast. Dive into all things important to Gen Xers, from advice on aging parents, expert interviews, product reviews, and heartfelt conversations. So put down the joystick, grab your Walkman, dust off your old yearbooks, and welcome to the Gen X Journey.
Welcome to the Gen X Journey podcast. My name is Noel Kurz. I'm here with Steve McKelkey and Keith Abbott. And looking forward to today's topic. Keith, you ready to kick it off?
Fun topic today, and it's kind of a topic that is created out of default for something that the three of us are going to get to do together at the end of this month, and that is we're actually going to get to see, I think we've seen one concert together before, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yes.
And and it was in Houston almost 30 years ago. Let's not talk about that too much, but same artist. So we're looking forward to going to see the Best of All Worlds tour that's coming up with Sammy Hagar. It's kind of a tribute in a way show to Van Halen, Montrose, which was Sammy's first band, some of his solo stuff, Chickenfoot, which is a super band at the Circle. The people who are going to be part of that band is pretty special. So Michael Anthony, who has been the bass player before Wolfgang Van Halen took over for Van Halen, is the bassist. And I think he's the guy's guy. He's the bro's bro. Like he's the even keel dude that's just out there to have a good time. I love this man to death. He's got the best voice of the whole group, if you ask me, with his harmony. And then Jason Bonham is going to be the drummer. Neat thing about Jason, that's John Bonham's son, the John Bonham of Led Zeppelin, if you may not know that. So cool. The drummer of that, and the drum heads that's going to be on tour are pictures of his dad, which is kind of neat. And then,
that's cool.
Yeah, and then taking the guitar position is a gentleman by the name of Joe Satriani. And I don't know if you know Joe.
Man.
Yeah, so
he has some like solo albums out there. I used to listen to those. Man, he is
huge solo artist.
So talented.
Totally talented. And I've been watching some YouTube videos of the concerts, and it's like with every concert, he's channeled his inner Eddie Van Halen better and better and better. And
nice.
I'm excited to hear this because I love Joe Satriani. I have since, the first time I heard, Flying in a Blue Dream or Riding with the Silver Surfer, all those albums, I loved listening to him and I was mesmerized by his solo stuff. So the fact, it's got to be hard to incorporate what you're used to being a solo artist. And you think about a guitarist who your guitar is the lead vocals, right? And now you play the supporting cast to the vocalist. It's a different way to play, but he's been locked in. I saw him in a concert on his own a couple of years ago. He was great. So I'm very excited for this tour. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The point of this video or this podcast is we're getting to do this, and it got us to talking about the importance of Gen X's live music scene and the fact that we are starting to see, and we heard that we're recording this the week of August, the first week of August, and we heard this week that one of our all-time favorite bands that we quote unquote quote Steven Tyler periodically, but Aerosmith retired this week officially. Unfortunately, Steven Tyler had some vocal issues that they just decided to call it a day. But that's what we started thinking about. Is it's as Gen Xers. You better go see the concerts that you want to see, because you never know when it may be the last. I know Rolling Stones could be having their farewell tour right now. A couple of my cousins went to go see them. They were rocking and rolling. So what do y'all think? Steve, what's your thoughts on the live music scene and how it impacted Gen X?
If live music was a big deal prior to Gen X, it went next level during our era and continues to be strong. And I think, because we saw so many different genres of music during our lifetime created, and especially during our childhood, music is probably more important to our generation. We've talked about this in past episodes. Music is probably more important to our generation than any other generation that exists. And it defined who we are, to define the attitude that we have. And so be able to see all those artists in person. And which is, it made that relationship in that music more, I guess, emotional, personal. I felt like, I remember, going to see, just any concert, you just feel like that artist is singing to you. And I think that's why it's so important to us.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, and I think it doesn't matter with the genre. I mean, we're talking rock now, but I remember when we went to see Garth Brooks, remember that? And then also went to see Elton John. I mean, all of these concerts that we've been able to experience. And I mean, that's just a three of many, but I mean, each one of them had their own feeling, their own emotion that came with it, their own connection to the audience. And I think that's why I love it so much is, the artists that don't necessarily get in front of audiences, they don't have that connection. Like I felt like I was part of this life, this like I've watched Van Halen I don't know how many concerts, and I feel like that's a part of my life. Like going to see a Van Halen concert to me was like, here we go, let's go see something great, and the same with all of these, like being able to see Collective Soul, being able to go see, I got to see Aerosmith when they went through Lubbock a couple of years ago. It was fantastic. And so a couple of years ago, it was probably 20, but anyway, but it was just amazing. I mean, just being able to have that connection.
Yeah, the Garth Brooks has such a talent. I mean, not in addition to his musical talents, he also has, I think, a unique. He's a showman, and he's very good. If you have never seen him perform live, there's a connection that he makes with his audience that it's hard to describe, because you really feel like he is drawing off of the energy from the crowd. And I remember the first time we saw him in Houston many years ago. He just kept going and kept going and kept going. And then you could tell he was getting tired. I mean, I would have. I mean, I think he sang for like 3 hours straight.
And moving the whole time.
Like didn't take a break, nothing. It was just on and on and on and on and on. And then like he stopped. And I remember one of the songs, like the audience sang his song to him. And it was like, wow, man, that still gives me chill bumps, just that whole scene, because he
Unanswered
was like,
prayers. I remember that.
Thanks for giving me a break. With the audience kind of picked up the slack, I guess, and gave him a little bit of a time off, because he'd been performing his pants off for us for 3 hours. But crazy. That was super, super cool. But
what are some bands that you all had wished you had seen that you never got to see? I think that's just as important as talking about the ones we've experienced, because this ties home the point of, if they're around, you got to go see them, because there's some that we missed. Yeah. What are some artists or bands that I'll tell you, one for me is Tom Petty. I would have loved to have had that chance.
I did see him in concert a bunch of years ago in Dallas. Lynn and I went, and we were the only ones there that were not smoking weed.
I believe that.
It was an outdoor place, thank God. Otherwise, we would have felt the effects too. But I just remember seeing this lady to the right of us. It was in it used to be called a Starplex. I don't know what it is today. Actually, it's where we're going to go see.
Yeah, Dos Equis, right?
Yeah, Dos Equis today, but it was Star something back in the day.
Starplex.
And she was on it's on the hill. And she was trying to stand up and raise her hands and, like, celebrate or whatever. And she just could not. Like, her arms got about shoulder height, and then she just fell back. And then she
awesome.
Rolled over and picked herself up, and then she tried to do it again and just fell back the other way. It was just, Lynn and I were
awesome.
Couldn't decide if we wanted to watch the concert or watch this lady just,
That's awesome.
face plant. But that one, I've always wanted to see. I'm a big Willie Nelson fan, and I've never seen him in concert, and I really want to see him live, before he passes.
Yeah. That is one that you get that opportunity, you better, right?
But
he'll live to be 300, but still.
Yeah, I know he's not live all three of us.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We're gonna have to bubble wrap the guy,
no doubt.
As a kid, we saw a lot of. My birthday was always around the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo time frame, and so we always saw like Oak Ridge Boys. We saw Willie there. We saw Merle Haggard, a few others. But so Willie is. I want to see him again, because I appreciate his music much more than I did when I was 7 years old. And
at that point, it's kind of torture, because that's mom and dad's stuff, right?
Yeah, right.
When I was a kid, I used to make fun of what his voice sounded like when he sang "On the Road Again."
Right.
But I really want to see George Strait, and I thought he was done, and they did the big concert in College Station a couple months ago. That looked amazing.
That did look amazing.
Yeah. So I really want to see George. saw Guns N' Roses a couple years ago. That was a big bucket list for me.
Yeah.
And it was Fat Axel up there, but still his voice was great. He was dripping sweat the entire time.
Have you seen him lately? He looks good again.
Does he?
He's,
Okay,
he's a
good.
stud again. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
if he's still touring, he's had time to work all that off.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
I mean, that shirt was stuck to his body. He needed several wardrobe changes, but we talked about in the most recent release of Gen X Icons episode 1. We talked about Prince, and and Noel, I shared the Cream concert this morning with the Facebook page, and that concert was so special, and it's just like that Garth Brooks moment that y'all had, and it's what I love about live music is that connection you have with that just amazing artist up there.
Yeah. I one of the bands that I wished I would have been able to see is U2. I've never been able to see U2.
Oh, man.
And have y'all seen them? I mean, I from what I understand, that's another one of those that Bono really captures the attention of the audience and interacts really well. And I remember one time, I can't remember if he was playing in Las Cruces or there was some place where he had lost his voice halfway through the concert. So he basically orchestrated the crowd to sing the rest of the show while he was pointing to the different sections and letting them sing. Wow. And I've heard about this show, and I mean, that's awesome. And the same thing, like with Van Halen, they were in Dallas one year and Sammy lost his voice, and it was while we were in college, and he promised that they would do a free show. And it's just come out recently on YouTube, but they went and did a surprise show at West End when West End was still a big deal there, and a free show at West End, and you can see it. It's on video. But things like that, like I would love to see U2, Tom Petty. I'm glad you got to see those guys, and there's just a few of those where I'm like, and U2, there's still a chance, but they're getting close. You got to think they're getting close to retirement probably too, and so it's like, golly, the next chance you get, you got to see some of these folks,
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
But yeah, what were some of the what was your first concert? Do you remember your first concert you went to? You said it's probably the Eagles. Well, that's a good way to start. Holy cow.
I know. I was old. I was my sophomore year in college. So I mean, I didn't go to many concerts. Well, I didn't go to any concerts when I was growing up, but sophomore year.
So that
was their Hell Freezes Over. Yeah.
Oh,
it was in Rice Stadium in Houston in July.
No kidding.
So it was.
But that was nice and cool.
Yeah. Oh man, we were wearing jackets. Oh my gosh.
Park is out.
Yeah. We were like, bring the mittens. But what I remember at that, Melissa Etheridge opened for him. And she opened at like 7:30, and then like they didn't actually come on until like 9 or 9:30. I mean, it was like this long wait, and then they finally came out, and they played for like 2.5. I mean, it was a long time, but golly, that was a great concert.
I bet it was. Yeah. Do you remember you said you went to a lot of probably the livestock show rodeos were your first.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was either Oak Ridge Boys or Asleep at the Wheel. Probably Oak Ridge Boys, though.
Either one of those. That's some legendary country right there.
Oh yeah, gosh, absolutely. And you're silver. Richard Sturban, who's the Bapa Mau Mau guy, he's still sings. They all do, but they have more gospel music these days.
Gospel, yeah.
And I think his bass has gotten better. And
that's awesome.
Really,
it's funny. Like I watch it on YouTube every now and then, like the TV rattles.
That's impressive.
I'll insert this story real quickly. We're talking about concerts, but we just moved to Granbury and we're visiting churches, and we went to this one church, and there's like 6 people up there with microphones, and I'm hearing this like low sound. I'm like, who is that? Like, I thought it was somebody around me. It was one guy on the very end, like with the deep voice,
Yeah. Shauna Na guy, right?
Man, he was low. Like, it was like dogs 50 miles away were like, what the heck is that?
Is it steak dinner coming?
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
That's awesome. No,
you said deep voice and gospel, and it made me think of church. But anyway.
Yeah.
back to their normal program.
This isn't a Gen X thing, but I think it's relevant as we're getting older. One of the funniest concerts I ever went to. So I went to, it was actually the week of September 11th when a 9/11 happened. My parents and I had a last hurrah together. We went to Hawaii, and we went to Oahu, and my parents wanted to watch. I don't know if you know the singer Don Ho.
Yes.
Okay. So legendary Hawaiian singer. So he has this really famous song called Tiny Bubbles, like tiny bubbles in the wine. Anyway, so, but it was the greatest song. It was the greatest concert because he starts out and he opens with this song, and he goes, I've been singing Tiny Bubbles for such and such 50 years, maybe like that. And he pauses. He goes, I hate that song. and he goes, so, and I play it at the beginning of the concert because my generation of listeners is so old that they're probably going to have to go home early. And then I also play it the last song of the concert because if they tend to stick with me, they've probably forgotten that I already sang it. So I have to sing it twice every concert. And I hate that song. It was so funny. It's so funny. That's more of a boomer, like silent generation audience, but it's so relevant to us today talking about like the last hurrahs of our concerts. I thought that stuck with me. It was so funny. It was so funny that he said that. I hate that song. Last thing he ever thought, probably his most famous hit that made him rich. He's like, I hate that song. It's pretty funny. So anyway, but
this is sort of related. I think y'all were at the TCU game in 1994 when Doug Supernaut came in and sang the national anthem. Do y'all remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
Came in a helicopter, landed on the field, got out, the big production. He was going to sing the national anthem. He got there and he started singing it and he forgot the words.
I remember that.
And it was like, man, you could have heard a pin drop. And then the man just watching the stadium turn on him. It was like,
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
like, don't come in here with your ego and mess up the most popular, well-known song in the country, right?
Take your helicopter and get out of here, stadium, man.
Crazy.
I tell you that Lubbock people can be equally friendly and equally brutal.
Yeah, they can.
Oh, so true.
Turn on a dime.
Well, I've been enjoying some of the concerts that's come through, like tailgating. I mean, we've had Vanilla Ice has come through.
Yes.
Let's see who else has been there recently. Smash Mouth, that's a Gen X band. There's been a lot of decent ones coming through, and so I thought that's kind of fun to see. And
New Kids on the Block is touring again.
Are you serious? Wow.
I don't know if they're touring. I just saw that they were back together again. Yeah. Actually, I did see their touring. I just saw somebody went to a concert.
Man,
yeah,
it's not Backstreet's back; it's New Kids back. I'm so confused. Too many boy band things being back. They're always back. Yeah. So,
tell you, one of the best it wasn't a concert, it was a halftime show, but it was when I had season tickets to the Houston Texans, and Run DMC did halftime.
Oh man!
And I tell you what, you just forgot how great they were, and they still got it. I mean, it's so funny. They started with Tricky, and everybody at the stadium's dancing. Even the 80-year-old women are out there dancing. And it was probably the most I ever saw the Texans fans just involved in the performance.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
That is so fun. I love stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was looking up on a Gen X Reddit earlier. I decided to say, okay, what about concert tickets? So like you talk about the price of concerts. Okay, so I'm looking at this guy. What is his name or her name? Das Sassy Pantson. I don't even know. That's the name of this Reddit person. But he has, or she, I don't know what, but they have a collection of all of their concert tickets from the 80s. So I'm looking at Howard Jones in 1987. The cost of this, I don't see that the cost is on here, but here's one for the Thompson Twins. Remember the Thompson Twins?
Yeah.
$13.75. Here's one for REM. Okay, REM in 1986, $14.50.
Oh my gosh,
isn't that crazy? And
oh my gosh,
Adam Ant, $12, and that's the floor from what he was saying. That was on the floor, $12. Yeah, New Order, which was kind of a more new wave band, it was $18.50. Hey, look at this, the Starplex Amphitheaters where this ticket's from.
Nice.
Yeah, and here's one for The Cure for $16. Another New Order, $13.75. The Violent Femmes, I don't see a price then. March 16th of 86. Probably not much different. Here's one. Duran Duran. And it was $14 to see Duran Duran.
Wow.
And,
oh my gosh.
And this was 1984 when they were at their peak. I mean, right before Live Aid and all that. Yeah. I mean,
wow.
So, and to give you a perspective, like, so my son wanted for his birthday, he wanted tickets to this country star. Have you all heard of Morgan Wallen?
Yeah.
My point exactly. Okay. No, I'm kidding. But this guy is a pretty big person for the younger generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at these bands, I'm thinking $13 to $25. This concert, we got him and two tickets for him and his buddy to go, right? And with the fees for Ticketmaster, how much do you think this 2-seat? And these were not floor seats. He had some knee stuff, so we put him in like the semi-ambulatory, like on the back end of the stadium, like middle row. How much do you think 2 tickets cost?
Combined, I'm guessing. Think about when we went to the Queen concert earlier this year. It was not cheap,
right?
Yeah, so I'm guessing total tickets $250.
Okay, what do you think, Noel?
That's what I was gonna say. $200
with the fees. It was over $1,000.
Get out of
I am not kidding. Not kidding. It was out of control. Yeah, I almost was like, "You're good." I mean, fortunately, his mom and I kind of split it and everything. But like, just to think, I mean, this is somebody I really don't know. Like, I wouldn't think real twice. But yeah, and I'll tell you, half of it was the stinking freaking Ticketmaster fees was more than anything.
No kidding.
Crazy.
Those fees are ridiculous.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But anyway, so stupid. But I mean, you look at these concerts for $14 and I'm sure there were fees there. It probably was a whole $25 then, but it's just, it's unbelievable, Yeah.
And New Kids on the Block.
Oh yeah. So here it is. 2 tickets, section 222 for $1,121.60. That's how much it cost.
Good Lord.
And here's the thing. Price per ticket was $395. That's how much taxes and fees were, Jack.
Oh my God.
Is that nuts?
That's outrageous.
I know. And I'm stupid for doing it, but oh well, he had a good time. Whatever.
Outrageous.
So, isn't that crazy?
Yep. It is.
And you said New Kids what?
New Kids on the Block is touring with Paula Abdul and DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Where's the Fresh Prince at?
I don't know. He's Will Smithing, I guess.
Yeah, he's Will Smithing somewhere.
So this is I just picked a venue. This one's in Massachusetts. Floor seats, $387 a seat. So that's $700 before the fees get tacked on. So
yeah. So that's probably another 1,000 something if you go with if you just bring a friend. It's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you? I mean, like, how do you justify that?
I don't know. I don't know.
It was funny. Wow. I was watching. I was actually driving home the other day from Dallas. I was listening to ESPN, and they had a really interesting take, and I thought it was really surprising that it was on a sports channel. But they were talking about the difference in cost between sports events and music events. Did I tell you about this yet? Have I told you about?
No,
okay, it was really fast because he was, and this is, mind you, these are sports guys talking, but he's like, if I had to choose on my money, right, and I had to choose between a sports show or a sports contest like the Super Bowl or something like that, and a concert, I'd probably pick the concert because if you think about it, you're going to go watch who you want to see, and you're going to have a great time. And he goes, you go to a pay the same money for a sports thing. There's a 50% chance you're going to go home pissed because your team lost.
Yeah. Probably more than 50%.
Yeah.
For honest, Tech fan,
100%. Yeah, that's true. 100% chance, right? But isn't that fun? I mean, but it was really it was an interesting perspective. Like, you're going to go. I mean, if you're a Taylor Swift fan, you're going to go and enjoy. If you're a Night Ranger fan, you're going to go and enjoy. If you're a Sammy Hagar, you're going to go and you're going to have the time of your life, whether this guy's good or not, because you love this. It's funny. It was a funny perspective, So,
yep.
But that's just, so we'd love to hear from our listeners. Like I'm going to throw a little incentive out there for our listeners. So I want to hear some feedback on what was your best Gen X concert that you ever attended. I'd like to hear little details about who was there, who opened, what the experience was like. And if you can remember an approximate price of your tickets and where you sat, that'd be awesome. But I'll tell you what, we're going to vote on what we think is the best concert story. And I am going to laser print you all a personalized Yeti mug for the winner to this. And we'll have a little, if you're a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, it'll be themed to whichever concert you pick. So looking forward to hearing that. So looking forward to that. So we will definitely post about that on Facebook the week that we release this episode, so we can get some feedback there.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very
awesome
cool.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I'd love to hear the stories about concerts. So go for it. Any other thoughts on this music thing before we tell people to just stop listening to us and go to one?
Well, if there's an artist out there that's still touring, we really want to encourage you to not miss that chance to see them one more time, especially with somebody that's part of your soundtrack as a Gen Xer. It's important for you to honor them one more time and relive those memories and experience that nostalgia, because they're not going to be around much longer, and or as long as we want them to be. And so take advantage of those opportunities, because we're losing some legends, and super excited about seeing Sammy here in a few weeks.
Yeah,
and
that'll be cool.
The company will be all right,
cool.
but the music's going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I'll get there safely. I'll just ignore you all the rest of the night.
That's right. Exactly. I'm excited to see that with you guys. I couldn't ask for a better time. But so Noel, there's a few neat things coming up on the pipe. So we've gone through with some of our icons. We actually did our first product review. Thanks for that, Noel. That was fun on your video security system. So there's some other things that we've got coming up. Why don't you kind of give us a rundown of things to come?
We do. If you listen to the intro for the Gen X journey, one of the things we talked about is just some, life advice kind of thing. And so we're going to, up to this point, since the relaunch, we've kind of skirted around that a little bit. We're actually going to hit that head on. We realize that, this time of year, being August and September, there's a lot of Gen Xers that are probably either going to or have already sent off their kids to college. And some of this, maybe, this is the first time that you're an empty nester and entering a new phase of your life with your spouse. And it's just it's different. Everything just feels different. Your life has gone from, revolving around taking your kids to different practices and attending different concerts and events and such. And now it's turned to, those kids are now at college and you've got all this free time, and there you are with your spouse, and there's just some just feels different. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to have we're going to have interviews some couples, myself and my wife included, to that have been there, kind of first person experience, and kind of talk about our experience having gone through that conversion into being an empty nester that happened for us over a year ago. And, now we have a year under our belt. We felt like we kind of blazed that trail, and we'd be happy to share some of our experiences and things we learned, things we didn't expect to learn, but we learned anyway. And we'll be happy to share those things. And then we're going to find ourselves an expert that can talk to some of these issues from a professional perspective too, and just offer their insights on things to look for, tips to kind of navigate through that whole process. And we just hope it's very helpful. We feel it's very timely. Like I said, just given this time of year, it's going back to school and people are going through changes, and we hope that this is really helpful to you. That's why we're doing this. Some good episodes coming up. I'm excited about those. The topic that's of course near and dear to my heart, and I think too will be to a lot of Gen Xers out there as well.
I've heard a lot of people talking about that they're struggling this year, so it's definitely a timely topic. So then after that, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have one of our guests that's a kind of a regular, comes on here from time to time, and he's going to reintroduce the sport of pickleball. And we're really excited to talk about pickleball, and to maybe even have a video that shows a couple of us trying to get better at it. So stay tuned. If you haven't played this yet, don't worry, you'll get addicted soon enough, like Noel and I. And so we think that's going to be a very fun, lighthearted episode. And so stay tuned for all of this. It's going to be a good time.
Very excited about pickleball episode. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
So. Yes, sir. So, and thanks again, everybody, for listening. And we will catch you all on the next episode.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the Gen X Journey podcast belong solely to the hosts and guests and do not necessarily represent the views or opinions of any entity they are associated with. The information provided is for entertainment and informational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. Listeners are encouraged to seek the advice of qualified professionals for any specific issues they may face. The creators and contributors of this podcast make no representations as to the accuracy, completeness, or validity of any information, and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its use.